the Millionaire's prenup tape, and Carney's 102-pound weight loss on ET.
A big Bush win. George Bush beats John McCain in the Virginia primary to take the lead in the GOP presidential race. Another school shooting, this time shooter and victim just 6 years old. And CBS News takes you along with an investigator who's undercover exposing elder abuse in nursing homes.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
And this is a special Western edition. Good evening. Fire and brimstone. The religious right turns out for Bush over McCain in Virginia's Republican primary. CBS News estimates Bush scored a double-digit, substantial victory over McCain, scoring heavily across the board with those who identify themselves as traditional Republicans. Bush also did very well with those who are self-described members of the religious right. This comes 24 hours after McCain criticized Bush and the Virginia-based Reverends Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, and company. There is also voting tonight in North Dakota and Washington State. CBS's Bob Schieffer has what's important out of the exit polls in Virginia and what's to come in the campaign ahead. Bob?
Dan, John McCain made a high-risk move yesterday when he attacked Pat Robertson and the religious right in their own backyard. He was trying to paint George W. Bush as their darling, and this time it just did not work. There was a big turnout in Virginia, but not the big turnout of independents and Democrats that McCain was hoping for. Instead, the Virginia turnout was heavily Republican, and they were overwhelmingly for Bush. Our survey suggests that around two-thirds of the Virginians who voted today call themselves Republicans. That is the most heavily Republican turnout that we've seen in any of these open primaries so far. For example, look how that contrasts with the turnout last week in Michigan, where McCain won. In that one, less than half the voters called themselves Republicans. Most of the voters there called themselves independents or Democrats. So the big turnout of Republicans was the good news for Bush. These voters were not nearly as moderate as the turnout in Michigan. In fact, nearly 60% of the people who voted today called themselves conservative. But I think the real bad news, Dan, for McCain is when you go deeper into this poll and ask voters what they thought of the candidates' attacks on each other. Only a third of them thought that Bush's attacks were unfair. But when we asked if they thought McCain's attacks on Bush were unfair, about half of them said yes. Now, what that tells you is that a lot of Virginia voters just did not buy McCain's suggestion that Bush was a Pat Robertson Republican. Most of what we're seeing in this poll is very good news for Bush. There is one finding that will be disturbing to him and to Republicans in general. More than 40% of the people who voted for McCain today said they would vote for Democrat Al Gore rather than Bush in the general election. That shows you Bush still has some work to do, Dan.
Bob Schieffer analyzing Bush's Virginia primary victory. Virginia aside, McCain's decision to take on the religious right head-on is part of his long-haul strategy and part of a much bigger Republican Party battle. Case in point, California, one of the Super Tuesday primary states. CBS's Bill Whitaker is there.
Campaigning in California's agricultural heartland today, John McCain made it clear his blast at leaders of the Christian right is nothing less than a fight for the soul of the Republican Party.
These people have led our party out of the mainstream of America. They are exclusive and not inclusive. They practice politics of division, not addition. I want people to come into our party. I want them there.
Far from shrinking from the controversy, he's using it to redefine his campaign. What started as a quest to reform the system now is a full-fledged crusade to recreate the GOP.
This is the party that lost the last two presidential campaigns. This is the party that lost the last two congressional campaigns. We got to do something a lot different. We have changed the nature of the entire politics in America because now it's all about reform.
The problem for McCain is the GOP leadership and its most devoted voters don't want to be reformed and consider his call to non-Republicans a hostile takeover. And in upcoming closed primaries in big states like New York and Florida, it's those party faithful who pick the winner.
Do they want somebody who wins the majority, or they want somebody who only wins Republican votes? Do we want to head an inclusive reform direction, or do we want to head in the direction of exclusivity and permanent minority status.
Now, it's a risky move for McCain. If he ends up alienating more voters than he draws in, not only might he lose, but he could leave the GOP divided and vulnerable to face the Democrats in November. Dan?
Bill Whitaker in California. For his part, looking past his triumph in Virginia, Bush was trying again today to mend fences with Roman Catholic voters, especially those in the North and West. CBS's Phil Jones is all over the Bush storyline tonight. Phil?
Dan, Governor Bush really needed this good news from Virginia, and tonight he appeared at a victory celebration in Cincinnati.
The voters of Virginia rejected the politics of pitting one religion against another.
Before tonight, he had had a very difficult day on the stump. It was the same old question. Did his appearance at Bob Jones University in South Carolina, which is anti-Catholic, mean that he's anti-Catholic? At a Catholic family center in Ohio today, Bush again apologized.
My regret is I didn't speak out against anti-Catholic bias when I had an opportunity to do so.
But he accused McCain of waging a spiteful campaign.
He said he's going to run a clean campaign, yet he's got calls going into the Commonwealth of Virginia calling me an anti-Catholic bigot.
All the experts had said before tonight that Bush really needed to win Virginia by at least 10 to 15 points for it to be considered a big deal. It appears that he has done it. But now he needs victories in North Dakota and Washington State to help convince jittery supporters that he's really back on track. Dan?
Phil, by any reasonable analysis, does this substantial victory in Virginia put the accusations that he's anti-Catholic, anti-Semitic, and anti-black behind George Bush?
I think it will help, but I think that the Bush people are taking any chances. He has already scheduled on Monday another appearance at a Catholic university in Connecticut. He is trying to take this issue head on. He knows that it has caused great damage, and he's got to repair it.
Phil Jones. With Virginia's 56 delegates now added to his column, Bush retakes the lead slightly from McCain in the national delegate race. But there's still a long way to go to the 1,034 delegates required to win the Republican nomination. President Clinton says a school shooting in Michigan today is another reason for voters to remember gun control as an election issue. This shooting was stunning because of the age of the shooter and the victim. CBS's Jim Axelrod reports.
At this point, we've identified the shooter as a 6-year-old.
This time, it's first graders. Inside a classroom in Mount Morris, Michigan this morning, a 6-year-old boy shot and killed a 6-year-old girl.
They've taken a young 6-year-old away from us, and there's no going to be any replacement.
If school shootings in America no longer shock, consider this, a 6-year-old shooter, and it may not have been an accident.
It would appear from the investigation so far that there may have been some sort of scuffle or quarrel on the playground the day before the shooting.
Investigators say the boy carried the .32 caliber handgun to school in his pants pocket. Among the many questions haunting Mount Morris tonight is where does a 6-year-old get a gun? All police know so far is he brought the gun from his own home.
What we can assume is that the shooter did not take his allowance and purchase that gun at Toys R Us.
Naomi Pace is not surprised. She's a gun control advocate who lobbies for laws holding parents responsible for safe storage of their weapons. Right now, just 17 states have them.
If you think your kids aren't old enough to find your handgun, please think again.
It is not a 6-year-old's responsibility to make sure that he doesn't pick up a gun. A gun is glamorous, it's attractive, it's something he sees on TV and in the movies. It's the adult's responsibility to make sure that guns are locked away.
But in Mount Morris, Michigan tonight, parents are thinking in much simpler terms.
I mean, are we going to have metal detectors in elementary schools?
What once may have seemed laughable is now a deadly serious question. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
Next up on the CBS Evening News, masses of flood victims holding on for their lives in Mozambique. And later, the president's push to help elderly Americans pay for prescription drugs.
Actually investing online, when you make a decision, is very effective, it's very efficient, it's low cost. People have great information today on accounts, annual information, inventory, sales. It's information that used to take weeks, months, And they used to not even be able to get it. Now it's right there. That's Fidelity technology. When you come to Fidelity.com, you can get the tools to make you a more responsible investor.
What if more people started their day with one a day's energy formula?
Me against you two, let's go! They can't find me! Dad, you're it! Come get me! No, you're it! Come on!
Dad, I think we've got homework.
Yeah, homework. Energy, one of many tailored formulas to focus on your needs. There's also a multivitamin for women.
Oh, homework?
5 more minutes!
Feeling your best is possible in a one-a-day world.
You mean I don't have to touch it?
Nope.
No rubber gloves? No dripping brush?
Nope.
Over a month without a scrub? Wow.
Introducing Vanish Brush Free, the new easy way to clean your toilet bowl. Just a quick spray a day and the active foam does the rest. It cleans and leaves a protective layer that prevents gunk buildup. Look at the difference. Nice, huh?
Looks like we'll never be in this position again.
New Vanish Brush Free. Just a spray a day keeps the brush away. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Thousands of people are just trying to keep their heads above water for another night in typhoon and flood-ravaged Mozambique, praying that they'll be rescued from deadly rising water. The water is still rising in the flood zone of southern Africa, but emergency aid is barely a trickle. CBS News correspondent Alan Pizzi is on the scene in Mozambique.
So vast and powerful is the flood of water that it would stretch the most advanced country to the limit. For Mozambique, it is simply overpowering. There are barely a dozen small helicopters available for rescue and relief efforts, and they are all but overwhelmed by people desperate to escape an inundation that perhaps only Noah could imagine. Whole families have to be rescued. With still more water on the way from the remote upper reaches of the rivers, people have been forced to flee on foot. This was the camp of Mapapa on Sunday, dry sanctuary for 3,000 people. Today, it is empty. The water came. And as always, the children are losing. The cyclones and torrential rains have wrecked the lives of an estimated 1 million people. They've also set back years of painstaking development work in a country that was on the verge of economic rebirth. These pictures were taken on Sunday. This is what the road looks like today. But aid is barely trickling in, and relief agencies are being stretched to limits they did not imagine existed.
I would say it's nothing short of absolutely horrific. You can see for yourself thousands of people trapped in floodwaters, on top of houses, in trees, their life threatened. It's absolutely spinning out of control here.
The priority is still to reach and rescue those trapped and get in enough food to keep them from starving. Ironically, one of the most pressing needs is water. Bodies of people and animals in the rivers bring the risk of cholera. And as if that wasn't enough, authorities here and in neighboring countries are warning of a new danger. Malarial mosquitoes will thrive in the damp conditions. Potential disaster heaped upon catastrophe. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Maputo.
Moderates have won control of Iran's parliament, but the commander of U.S. forces in the Persian Gulf warned Congress today that Islamic radical hardliners still control the Iranian military, and Iran is a growing threat to U.S. security. General Anthony Zinni urged a waiting period before any new U.S. overtures to Iran. He said the hardliners are moving ahead with nuclear weapons, and they still support terrorist groups. Adolf Eichmann's own account of Nazi genocide was made public today by Israel to serve as evidence in a lawsuit over the Holocaust. Eichmann wrote his memoir in an Israeli prison before he was executed in 1962. In it, Eichmann says he was just following orders and supervising the Nazi death camps. Israel reckons the book will undermine the case of a British historian who has questioned the scope of the Holocaust. Straight ahead on CBS, President Clinton's prescription for Medicare drug coverage and why Republicans in Congress won't swallow it.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food, exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast from Friskies. Good taste is easy to recognize.
Cold, dry air makes it worse. So can days like these. That's scalp stress itch. And Scalpicin stops it. Clean, unscented, medicated. To stop scalp stress itch.
Fast.
Scalpicin stops scalp stress itch.
I want to feel control over chaotic surroundings.
Engaging development.
build DTS North Star system.
And to take on every part of my world.
Commencing OnStar communications and assistance services.
And have a nightlife.
Projecting night vision. All systems go.
The all-new DeVille DTS. The power of and. The fusion of design and technology. Cadillac.
Welcome back. We are talking to the man who discovered 10-10-220. Now, Professor, did you ever dream it would be such a tremendous hit?
I never had a moment's doubt. After all, a 20-minute call for only 99 cents. Think of it.
Yeah. At my house, we dialed 10-10-220. We get all our calls up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. And just 7 cents a minute after that.
With great rates like that, there's got to be a monthly fee.
Never!
It's like a dream come true.
I never could have done it without him.
Dial 10-10-220.
Net 1, Pearl 2.
Bingo! Mr. Barkley wins again!
These days, it's never too early to think about retirement. Maybe that's why so many people go to Schwab.com. In a few steps, you can open a Roth, a traditional IRA, or a rollover, invest in a range of funds, and plan for the future. Because retirement...
You got the upper.
...comes sooner than you think.
On what figures to be an election year issue affecting millions of Americans, President Clinton unloaded new ammunition to underscore his push for expanding Medicare to cover prescription drugs. It's a new study showing how big a bite prescription drugs now take out of the wallets of middle-income older Americans. CBS's Diana Olick has the latest facts on money, medicine, and Medicare.
In a calculated attempt to move his Medicare prescription drug plan through Congress, President Clinton released a new study on the financial state of the nation's elderly. It's aimed at congressional Republicans who held hearings on Medicare reform today.
No one creating a Medicare program today would think of creating a program without prescription drug coverage. Yet more than 3 in 5 Medicare recipients now lack dependable drug coverage, which can lengthen and enrich their lives.
The study shows Medicare has reduced the poverty rate among the elderly by 2/3, so most seniors are now considered middle income, making between $15,000 and $50,000 a year. The president wants those middle-income elderly included in a Medicare prescription benefit, while Republicans want to target only the poor.
The president is still saying that the federal government should subsidize everybody's prescription drugs needs, whether you're Bill Gates or Donald Trump or a very poor person that really needs the help.
The Republican plan draws the eligibility line at $12,750, making the majority of seniors ineligible.
When I pay that and my rent, all my money is gone.
Eula Johnson, whose income is just over the Republican limit, is struggling under her prescription bills.
I talked with my doctor and tried to get him to cut it, and he said he could not take the medicine from me. I need my medicine.
So you need these drugs, but you really can't afford them?
No, I can't.
President Clinton may be helping more than just senior citizens. Al Gore is pushing this same Medicare plan, and if Republicans refuse to budge, they'll be handing Democrats a potent weapon for the battle this fall. Diana Olick, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
On the CBS Market Watch, a survey out today finds consumer confidence in the U.S. economy has fallen back a bit from January's record high, a reflection of growing concern about rising gasoline prices and interest rates. On Wall Street, the Dow gained 89 points as the blue chips rallied. The computer chips did the same. The Nasdaq closed at a record high. More CBS News ahead, including nursing home horrors and how you can protect your loved ones.
I'm in a payphone. I'm not from here. I took my shopping bags when I turned around to grab the purse. The cab was gone. No, I didn't. I'm very calm, sir. I just left my wallet with $1,000 in the cab. It's all my cash. I have nothing. Excuse me? No, I didn't get the driver's name. You don't understand. I'm on vacation. Everything is in that cab.
How much power do you really need? The Sierra Extended Cab has the most powerful standard engine of any truck in its class. Not because you need it now, but because one day you will. And being prepared for that day is what having a professional-grade truck is all about. The GMC Sierra, above and beyond.
A computer that is so last century. Introducing iPac, the first internet device for business. A kinder, simpler device with the Intel Pentium 3 processor that taps into the power of the internet and meets all your business computing needs. The age of simple internet computing has arrived. iPac from Compaq.
Well, when I got hurt in this work, thought I had supplemental insurance.
Supplemental insurance? What's that? Aflac.
Well, even best insurance doesn't give you cash to cover things like lost pay, other expenses. This does.
What does? Aflac.
Shouldn't ask about it at work.
Really? And what's it called? Aflac!
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Aflac.
In an in-depth Eye on America series, CBS News has been investigating and exposing the horrors inside some of this country's nursing homes. The nursing home industry acknowledges more than 25% of homes have been cited for problems that harm patients, but says only 1% have been cited for actions that could kill or seriously injure a patient. If you're wondering what the government is doing about all this, correspondent Vince Gonzalez reports tonight the answer is not nearly enough.
A distress call from a frightened family.
I was told that you could be very helpful to me, and I'm really anxious to talk to you.
It's a call to action for Isla Swan.
See you tonight. I went through it with my mother, and nobody was there to help me.
Outraged by the harm a nursing home did to her mother, this wig crusader goes undercover for others for free, looking for signs of abuse and neglect.
What happened right there? What happened?
Families contact her because it seems no one else is listening. Swan reports her findings to the families and files reports with state regulators who routinely dismiss them.
You try the system's broken. It's well known the system is broken.
In a series of reports, government investigators reached the same conclusion, that the state and federal system is inadequate to protect residents. Well then, what about the police?
You can't get the police to come in there. Their jurisdiction, as far as I have seen, stops at the front door at the nursing home.
Police did investigate Martha Merritt's death. They had to. The coroner ruled the nursing home resident's death was homicide, that she was assaulted by another person. Police found an eyewitness. They had a suspect who worked at the nursing home, but the DA refused to file any charges, saying he couldn't get a conviction.
I don't think that they really care about elderly people. They're going to die anyway. I think that's what they think.
I'd say elder abuse today is where domestic abuse was about 5 years ago, in that investigations and prosecutions and convictions of domestic abuse 5 years ago were few and far between.
It's hard for the law to ignore evidence of abuse on videotape, especially when it's this shocking. The victim was 99 years old, paralyzed, and unable to speak. The certified nurse's assistant got 6 months in jail and lost her license. Nationwide, advocates for the elderly are pressing to get video cameras into nursing homes.
How many homes have you been in? And of those, how many would you put a loved one in?
I've been in over, well, close to 600, and out of that 600, I found about 6.
The chief spokesman for the nursing home industry disagrees.
As I look at all of the studies, governmental statistics and the sources of data, if you look at the quality, it is really very good.
So how do you find the good homes? Swan says take the tour, then return unannounced.
What you want to do is go back and see what the patients look like. Are they kept? Is their hair combed? Kneel down in front of them, eye to eye, and take a look at them and talk to them.
Also, watch the staff. Are they overwhelmed? Check inspection reports. And if a family member is in a home, visit often, and not always at the same time. The number of nursing home residents will double in the next 20 years, and millions of aging baby boomers should hope the system gets fixed long before the music of their youth is played in America's nursing homes. In Sacramento, this is Vince Gonzalez for Eye on America.
On the CBS Health Watch, some surprising new research today on meat safety. Turns out as much as half the cattle in the nation's feedlots during the summer months test positive for potentially deadly E. coli food poisoning germs. The government says this is 10 times higher than previously thought. This study concludes meat safety can be improved if beef is tested even before it is ground and enters the food chain, and if meat is always cooked thoroughly.
In case of fire, this is a good place to stand, unless you're a computer. One company that hosts web servers knows that, and Janus knows them. Before buying their stock, Janus went after every drop of information, right down to their fire extinguishers. Their system doesn't use water. It puts out fires without drowning computers. A minor detail? Not if it's your money. Get there. Janus Mutual Funds.
Oh, I think people are definitely confused about which flea and tick protection to use for their dogs and cats.
Yeah, there's others out there, but fact is, Frontline's still the best. That's because Frontline kills 100% of fleas within a day. And only Frontline kills all major ticks, including the one that can carry Lyme disease. There it is.
For fleas and ticks, Frontline is the veterinarian's #1 choice.
Oh, he agrees.
If foods like onions and peppers give you gas, then do what I do. Take Beano before eating. It has a natural food enzyme that helps prevent gas caused by many vegetables, including beans. And for me, that's great news. Prevent gas with Beano.
Nature made me a person of many parts. Nature made me determined to make all of them last. And thankfully, to help, there are nature-made maximum strength herbs, like echinacea, which research shows can help support my immune system. There's no stopping me, because nature made me.
At Enterprise Rent-A-Car, when you call us, we don't just pick up the phone. We pick you up.
This is great.
Thank you.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
What is so rare as a day in June? How about a day in February? This one, February 29th. It comes just once every 4 years, which makes people born on this day members of an exclusive club. Just 4 million members around the world. An imperfect world in which the Earth can't quite complete its journey around the sun in an even 365 days and needs an extra day every 4 years to catch up. So we say welcome to the newest members of the Leap Day Club and best wishes to the senior members of this quadrennial birthday society. And that's part of our leap year tonight. I'll be back later here on CBS with 60 Minutes, too.
Fed up with your health care? He is. He's the man who took on big tobacco and won. Now he's taking on the HMOs.
They promise to deliver quality health care, and they just don't deliver.
HMOs and 60 Minutes, too, tonight at 9, 8 Central Time. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Have a good evening.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the Internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.